There was a young man named Luke. At 27, Luke had a decent job at a tech company in Austin, Texas. He wasn't rich, but he wasn't struggling either. He had friends, a roof over his head, even a side hustle selling prints of his photography online. But despite the checklist of having it all together, Luke carried something heavier than stress, a quiet, constant weight he couldn't explain. He felt trapped. It wasn't dramatic. There were no obvious shackles, no major tragedies. Just a persistent restlessness. Every day felt like he was living someone else's life, playing a role he didn't remember auditioning for. He woke up, scrolled through his phone, sat in meetings, answered emails, made small talk, smiled politely, worked out, posted a highlight on Instagram, and then repeated the same dance the next day. One Saturday morning, after canceling weekend plans yet again just to lie on the couch feeling hollow, Luke called his old college friend, Mason. Mason was different. He had a calm energy about him, like someone who had figured something out but wasn't trying to sell it to you. They hadn't talked in months, but Luke had a hunch Mason wouldn't mind. "I don't know, man," Luke said after venting. "People keep talking about freedom, finding your passion, living your truth, all of that, but no one ever explains what that really means. I feel stuck. I feel like something outside of me is controlling my life." There was silence on the other end, then Mason said, "Come over." When Luke arrived, Mason handed him a worn-out, overstuffed hiking backpack. "What's this?" Luke asked. "I want you to carry it," Mason said. "We're going for a walk." Confused but too curious to argue, Luke slung the heavy pack over his shoulders. It was surprisingly uncomfortable, like it was filled with bricks. They walked down the quiet suburban street, Mason chatting about random things, how the trees were greener this summer, how he started growing tomatoes. But Luke could barely pay attention. His shoulders ached, the straps dug into his skin. He shifted the weight from side to side, adjusted the buckles, but it didn't help. After 10 minutes, he finally said, "Okay, this is ridiculous." "What's in this thing exactly?" Mason said. "You've been carrying it without asking why." Luke took it off and opened it. Inside were random items, thick books, a couple of dumbbells, some large rocks, even a metal lunchbox. None of it made sense. "Why would anyone carry this?" Luke asked. Mason looked him in the eye. Why would anyone carry guilt from 10 years ago, or expectations they never questioned, or someone else's definition of success? Luke blinked. "Wait, are you saying this is like a metaphor?" Mason smiled. "I'm saying you asked me what freedom is, and I'm showing you." He continued, "You think you're not free because of your job, your schedule, your responsibilities. But those are surface level. The real weight isn't outside you, it's what you're carrying inside. The invisible stuff. The I shoulds, the what will they thinks, the fear of disappointing people, the belief that you're not enough unless you're constantly achieving something." Luke looked down at the backpack, suddenly seeing it differently. "You weren't born with that weight," Mason said. "You picked it up one piece at a time. Maybe from your parents, maybe from school, social media, culture, yourself. But the good news, if you put it on, you can take it off." Luke sat on a bench. He was quiet for a while, then asked, "But what if letting go means I lose everything I've worked for? What if I disappoint people?" "That's fear talking," Mason said. "Freedom isn't about having no responsibilities. It's about choosing them consciously. Carry what matters, drop what doesn't. That's how you become free." Luke nodded slowly. They sat in silence. Finally, he stood up and left the backpack on the bench. Mason raised an eyebrow. Luke shrugged. "It's just a metaphor, right?" Mason grinned. "Maybe. Or maybe it's the first real choice you've made in a long time." In today's world, we talk a lot about freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, freedom of time, freedom from the system. But we rarely look at the invisible weight we carry daily, the pressure to impress, the fear of missing out, the guilt of not being good enough, the impulse to stay constantly productive even when we're exhausted. We've confused freedom with the ability to do anything, when in truth, real freedom is the ability to let go of what's unnecessary. Like Luke, many of us walk through life with invisible backpacks, full of outdated beliefs, unprocessed emotions, and inherited expectations. And like the young man in the story, we may one day realize that nothing is holding us back, except what we refuse to put down. So ask yourself, what are you still carrying that no longer serves you? And more importantly, are you ready to let it go? Freedom doesn't come from escape, it comes from release. And sometimes, the first step toward freedom is just taking off the backpack. I hope you found this story helpful. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health and peace. See you in the next story.